Hello and welcome back to the Excurse. Today I have Lewis from Shadow Art Games. How are you, sir?
Hello, I'm very good. How are you?
I'm very, very well. I'm super excited for your current project. But I'm
Thanks.
curious. Well, before we get to that, where did you get started with video game development? Because this can't be your first go. looking at the progress you've made, you obviously have been doing this for a while.
Well, yes and no. I mean, in a sense, I was really into video games since, as a child playing. But in terms of development, like we went to college. So Shadow Art Games is myself and Ryan, who's not on the
Okay.
call, but he's the
Mm-hmm.
modeling guru. But we started doing stuff on Unity back when we were in college, about 2009, 10, I think it was. And ever since then, just been cracking away with C# coding on Unity, making small projects back then, and it's just took off from there really. So yeah, I actually had a big break from game development around 2012,
Right.
and I actually pursued acting.
Oh,
I went to
cool.
London. Yeah, so that was a big part of my life, which I'll probably get into at some point if we
Sure. Yeah. That
progress
sounds
into
good
that.
to
But
me.
yeah, I've been learning a lot of code over the years, though, like doing applications and that sort of thing. C# first, and then C++, and then just recently got back into game development, seeing all the cool projects going out there on Unreal Engine, and just decided, you know what, make a cool fan project, Dark Forces, go for it, and this is where we
Yeah,
are.
I mean, I will say Dark Forces, the first video game I ever bought with my
Oh,
own
nice.
money. First PC game, sorry, I ever bought with my own money. And as soon as I heard about this project, I was like immediately had to check it out. I spoke to Joe Kelly, who's done some of the voice acting for the project. But yeah, so you're using Unreal, right? Which seems to
Yes.
have, I guess, just the accessibility of Unreal has just allowed so many things to happen, so many of these fan projects. But why Dark Forces? I'm guessing it has a special place for you.
Yeah. So it was originally my project, solely myself doing
Mhm.
it, until Ryan came on board. But for Dark Forces, to me, is, it's one of my first ever video games as a kid.
Sure, same. Well,
Yeah,
certainly on the PC, it was one of the first. I think it was like
yeah.
Doom, and then that.
I
So,
actually had it on PlayStation 1,
oh,
PlayStation
nice.
X, whatever you want to call
Hmm.
it. Because actually my dad got a console, like, it must have been like a year after release, 1996,
Six,
I think, on
seven,
the
yeah,
PS1. Yeah, yeah. So maybe a bit later than that.
nice.
But yeah, just started playing it as a kid. It terrified the hell out of me, going through those dark corridors. I was like, a little child, especially on level 3 of the sewers.
Oh
Absolutely
well,
terrifying.
we'll get to the sewers in a bit
Yeah.
because I want to ask you about the sewers specifically.
But yeah, it's just like the atmosphere of Dark Forces, even though it's like, sprites and half baked 3D assets, just pixelated, just the atmosphere it captures back then for the old Star Wars trilogy, just like it's unmatched today.
I
It's really hard to
completely
explain
agree.
why I just thought it just feels like Star Wars should feel like, yeah, as a game.
For me, it honestly it does, it embodies that Star Wars spirit more than almost any game I can think of, to be honest. I mean, that kind of period for me with like X-Wing, TIE Fighter, Dark Forces, the first Dark Forces. I do like the
Yeah,
sequels, but for me that first Dark Forces, it's just Star Wars. It's
yeah, that's
perfect Star
100%.
Wars for me. And whether that was just the age that I was at the time I played it, I'm not sure. But I guess I'm sure if you speak to people now that grew up with the prequels, it's like that's their era of Star Wars, and,
Yeah,
and the sequels is probably their era of Star Wars. But for me, this was, yeah, this game just encapsulated everything. And I think it being just a straight up shooter without the Jedi stuff as well. There's something really
absolutely.
nice about seeing that side of Star Wars, that scoundrel side.
Yeah, and I really liked the original, illustration of Kyle Katarn as well. I know we've got like
Yes.
this, got a Jason Court, whatever he is, Kyle Katarn dude.
Yeah. They
And
went
then
all in with the sequel, with the CG, the full
yeah,
stop
but
motion, the full motion video and stuff.
the original Dark Forces Kyle was such a badass. It's like this is what a rogue mercenary guy should be like. Just
Yeah.
kind of a bit weathered, a bit, a bit. It's
Mm.
just badass, and that's what I really like about the Dark Forces character is just. And then it just kind of went off on a big complete different path than the other ones. Like this Jedi Chuck Norris, which is like, nah.
It's too much. I love those sequels,
like
but it's too much. I liked it when he was just a badass scoundrel, you know.
That's what I really want to do. So in our project, I'm definitely the Kyle Katarn model is definitely taking after the original Kyle.
I was going to ask about that actually, because I saw the other day you actually put up the voice acted intro using Joe and whatnot, and it's great. I really loved it. But I'm curious, are you going to redo the intro visuals as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I only did the 2D, cutscene thing.
Just to show the voice acting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just put it something out there saying, oh yeah, we're working on voice actors, and Joe and the other actresses we got on board have done an amazing job. Of giving the voices, and I really appreciate the work because it's all voluntary as well. Like I'm doing it on my I have no budget. But yeah, also Patreons are helping us as a bit as well. So
we'll put links. On there. We'll put links to all of that in the description. And
thank you. But everyone who's gone on our Patreon, amazing work to help us out, and he just gives that motivation to keep going, even though it's not a massive amount. It's just like a little bit. But yeah, definitely the cutscenes are all going to be 3D rendered, awesome. With models, animations, rigged. So
it's the beauty of Unreal, right? It's actually got a basically a filmmaker in it. You can pretty much design everything.
Absolutely. But I use I don't know if you heard of it, but I use iClone Character Creator free. It's a really cool bit of software. Yeah, it's awesome. It's really cool for indies. You get instead of modeling a character out, you got actually have the skills to do that in the first place. But this is a software there. You get a base model, male, female, or whatever, and you can tweak the sliders to make a complete custom character. It's so much easier. Awesome. It's pretty expensive, but if you check it out after this interview, it is really good bit of kit.
Yeah.
I use that a lot to really just help things get along. And it has full lip syncs as well, so I can take Joe's voice, add it to a track like an animation pre-canned. And then the lips will be perfectly in sync to the voice, and that's what I've been adding into all the officers and all the human enemies, because obviously Stormtroopers got a helmet on, you can't see the lovely faces. So
yeah. One of the things I do love though that you've done with just the Stormtroopers and the general characters is the idle chat you've got going on. I love all of that. Are you kind of planning to expand on that a little and just kind of have that everywhere?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Because I loved that bit. That was really fun to see. Just the kind of conversations between the generals and the Stormtroopers and whatnot is really cool.
The problem we have is at the moment we have just this sort of corridor we've only shown off in videos, like the first corridor.
This is the iconic, the iconic opening, yeah.
So we haven't had much chance to really go out to bigger levels, interact with even more Stormtroopers who have that sort of logic to them, because we haven't made it. We haven't modeled it out. Yeah. So I know people go, oh, this corridor again. It's like, I'm sorry, but yeah, it's just a slow burn.
Yeah, you're a 2-person gang now, right? Making all of this, so it's take as long as you need. It looks amazing. So
thanks.
One of the things I really like from that opening corridor, because people complain it's just a corridor, but I can see even from the corridor a lot that's different from the original. And I'm really curious. You seem to have removed a lot of the repetition, the tile repetition that you've got on those those corridor walls, and certainly in the later levels of Dark Forces, when you get to those big Imperial bases and whatnot, it gets really confusing because everything looks the same. So are you doing work to kind of mitigate that? Because it looks like you've kind of mixed it up with a lot of different textures. It's not just that one sort of texture look that you've got going there.
Yeah, so Ryan's pretty much modeled the entire environment himself, taking reference from, I did it in one of my comparison videos about the Jedi Academy mod remake.
Yeah.
You probably played that. Yeah, they did amazing work, that team. That was a massive inspiration. I think their secret base is just very good to keep the original and kind of modernize it. So we just definitely use it as a framework, but obviously we made all the assets and did all the textures. But yeah, we took inspiration from Jedi Fallen Order for the metallic sort of panels and look.
It's got really nice design, that game, actually, visually.
Yeah, it really has, actually, especially the Imperial bases. It kind of does feel like Dark Forces.
It does, yeah.
Kind of Rogue One-esque, if you know what I mean. But Ryan is you're having like definitely distinctive panels and textures, especially if you go down to the lower levels where the secret plans are kept.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen our latest updates, but we've put out a new bit of screenshots. Actually, it's completely
I don't think
redone.
I've seen those. I'll have
modern.
to check those out after this.
Yeah, it's basically designed off the Rogue One data vault.
Oh, nice.
So you go down, and instead of just picking up the the plans from like a static,
you just walk into a spinning object. Yeah.
You actually have to go down, and we have took some liberties from Rogue One because I think Rogue One's cool. You know, I really like the movie.
I like Rogue One. I think, you know,
it's not Dark Forces, but
I wanted Kyle. I wanted a movie where Kyle goes and steals the Death Star plans in 5 minutes. That's how that works for me. But no, I like Rogue One for what it is. I think it's, you know, it's an interesting story, and I like the idea that you're taking that inspiration from the data vault because it's a cool visual. The data vault.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, and it expands the base as well. I think, we want something like it is pretty much canon. Because these Imperial installations, they must have same features as other Imperial installations.
You'd think it would be like modular kind of. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, we're taking that. You're putting that in. So including the tunnel bit we go through and the lights on the side of you, and then you got that nice opening window port where you can see the data server thing, and then you grab the plans from there. Stormtroopers obviously appear behind you, reinforcements, have a shootout, and all that good stuff.
Nice. How are you tackling the sewer level? Are you gonna?
Well, officially, we're not actually even making the sewer level. This is actually just the first level.
Are you just doing the first level officially?
Yeah,
okay.
Obviously, like if it went really well and all that stuff, definitely we'll probably. I'm thinking of doing one more level. Just I don't want to mess around with Disney, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, like, it's probably not the kind of company you want to mess with. Yeah,
I think obviously we're just doing it for fun. Like, it's
yeah.
But I think if you go further than that, then you're kind of crossing the line where it's like, oh, what these guys do.
Yeah, you're not making a full game. Then it might.
Yeah. When I see some of these fan projects where they go, oh yeah, we're making this whole remake of this game. It's going to have multiplayer.
They do usually get shut down pretty fast.
I know, yeah. And even they probably never come to completion anyway because these things take a massive amount of work. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, how long have you been working on that first level now? Because there's a lot of care and attention that's gone into it. Clearly.
Well, yeah. This is this version currently is completely different to the first one we planned. We had a video last year, and it was kind of a rushed kind of level we did. It's kind of let's say early pre-alpha.
That was the one with the T-poses, right? When you were just kind of doing a fly through. Is that right? The one I'm thinking of, or am I thinking of something else?
We actually had a play.
There's also a Jedi Knight remake coming out at the moment. I'm kind of getting confused between the two, probably.
I saw that, yeah. But yeah, our first iteration was it was just rushed because we did it in pandemic. We're like, okay, yeah, both on furlough.
Let's take this time to,
let's just do it. So we asked Ryan to help me with my Dark Forces project I was already doing at the time. He joined on, and we started smashing it out. But that version was so rushed because we could do so much better than it. We just did this revamp of our project. So we're taking much more care and attention to this detail.
So are you expanding the base itself, or are you sticking with pretty much the same?
Oh yeah. The base is definitely being expanded.
Because you've got that outdoor area and
for a start, you do start in the exterior, so you will have to make your way through like the canyons we've got going on.
Have you taken inspiration from the audiobooks? Because in the audiobook there's that whole kind of, there's the whole village and stuff at the start, and all of that.
Yes, Trid, I think it's called.
I couldn't remember the name of
it. Joe Kelly, your friend, the voice actor, he's done really well to actually record the voices, and that guy's got such an amazing range as well. He really does. Characters.
He's amazing, yeah.
But he's actually I had a lot on my plate for doing like voice, casting and that sort of thing. So I said, Joe, just if you like, you've got a lot of contacts, story of Dark Forces. If you want us to be like the casting director dude, go for it. Just make some scripts up as you go along.
Yeah.
So he definitely took inspiration from the novels, I think the comics was it, and the audiobooks for Trid, like the exterior perimeter base and the distraction, and the stormtroopers move out from the installation we're going to go trying to figure it out what's going on over there. So it gives you a little bit of less reinforcements to deal with. So yeah, that's the expanded universe definitely taken into effect in our project.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll fight a few probe droids on the exterior and all that stuff. So
Hmm.
it should be
It's gonna
fun.
be fun. I'm excited to play this level. It's there's something about that opening. It's like E1 M1 from Doom, right? You just see that opening with the dropping down, and it's like,
Yeah.
exactly how I remember it. I can't wait to play it. It looks incredible. The ragdoll physics are incredible as well. Just the whole look of it is just, yeah. I
Oh,
love it.
thanks. Yeah,
Love it.
the ragdoll has actually it's actually got worse since
Oh
I
no,
first showed the
really?
ragdoll off. Yeah, I don't know what I must have done something wrong somewhere
Right.
down the line. I just I'm always messing around with AI.
Mhm.
AI is my kind of my thing.
Yeah.
And AI is probably the hardest part of development really to figure out, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you
I
got
can
such
imagine.
complex. Yeah, you got to think of all different situations how you can react with the AI, and especially you've got the VR now, like you've seen
Well,
our
I was going to say that VR demo looked amazing. I've never really touched VR, but I'm
really.
tempted. That looks really fun. To play that first level from Dark Forces in VR would be great fun.
Yeah, I put a lot of effort into the VR as well because I'm a massive VR fanboy. Really,
I just don't think I can afford it right now. I'm refusing to even try it because I know once I do, I'm just gonna have to spend the money and just get one.
yeah,
But yeah, it looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing.
yeah. So I had a Rift in 2017 when it kind of like the year after it came out, and ever
Hmm.
since then I've been absolutely hooked on VR. I just needed more quality experiences, not actual shorts, little demos of games, just
Yeah.
actual, really cool, long, enjoyable games to play
Mm.
instead of like these experiences. So this is what it's just Star Wars in VR is so cool.
Yeah.
We just need a proper VR Star Wars game where it's not like on rails scripted. So Dark Forces is a really cool game to actually
Yeah.
do that
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. It's perfect for that. Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, AI
Mm.
is the physical animations on there is really it's the most annoying part of game dev, honestly.
But I imagine when you
Um,
get it right, it's
you get it when you get it right, yes. But I mean, when you look at GTA, the Grand Theft Auto series and Red Dead, they got that Euphoria physics engine, has
the
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 ragdolls. Like,
contextual stuff blows my
yeah, yeah.
mind these days,
And that's like teams of hundreds of people doing it. And it's just like,
and it's just you.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'm just trying to do as best as I can, and I do get, a lot of people online have been saying really nice things about the project, but then some people are kind of like nitpicky about those sort of things. So I'm definitely a perfectionist as well. So I'm really trying to
Mm.
like nail every aspect of everything in the project to show off in the best light.
I guess that's the great thing about doing a level or a couple of levels is you can really focus on just getting that, nailing those levels and
Yeah,
nailing everything about them. So yeah, it's fantastic.
yeah. So next up on the list is definitely the music system, like the dynamic music system the original had, the
Yeah.
iMuse. I've got to think about how to program something like that.
Are
But
you going to
because
keep the original soundtrack in there, or are you going to use something else?
definitely the Dark Forces original soundtrack, yes.
Great.
Obviously a remastered version of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's a guy on YouTube, Richard Barrett, I think his name is his
Right.
YouTube account, has actually he did a remaster of the whole Dark Forces soundtrack and put it on there for download, and it
Oh,
sounds amazing. Yeah, definitely using that because it's so iconic, and the Dark Forces theme is amazing.
yes, it's
So
fantastic.
yeah, definitely having that in. But the thing is, like the original had a constant loop of a track over and
Yeah,
over and over again on the level, just because it couldn't support that many
yeah.
audio channels at the same time. But now we've got like so many different sound sources in the level, and the AI is talking. You want to kind of like keep it to a minimal,
Mm.
to a minimal sort of level, and only kick it in when you really need the sound. So it really need trying to think of a way to like
It
get it
can.
tied in perfectly.
Yeah, it could be quite overwhelming, that soundtrack in the original, because it would just be playing,
Yeah.
full volume, theme, even when you're kind of sneaking around sometimes. But yeah, that's incredible. Are you gonna do? I really hope. By the way, I there's like the LucasArts logo and that sound. The LucasArts logo and sound from that
Oh
period
yeah.
is so iconic to me. I hope you do a Shadow Arts version if you
Oh,
haven't already.
it's like the
Yeah,
boom,
that. Yeah, yeah.
bing. Yeah, yeah. I hope so. I might have to talk to Nate, who's on Discord. He does like the VFX stuff. So,
Mm.
so if you're watching, Nate, definitely
Make that happen.
we'll make that happen.
So Alan's been doing incredible work on these models. They look insane. I don't know, like, how much time has he spent kind of working on all of these different models for the characters in the game?
Ryan.
Oh, Ryan. Sorry, where did I get Alan from?
Alan.
Sorry,
it's all right.
I don't know where that came from. Sorry, Ryan. So he's been working on these models, and they look incredible. Has he been? I'm guessing he's got a history in digital modeling and whatnot, but.
Yeah, we're trying to invite him into the chat actually. If
you
want
to get him in if he wants to.
He's actually, I think he's food shopping at the moment.
So. Oh, okay. Well, we'll keep going if you've got time. I've got time. So I promise I won't call him Alan.
We can call him Alan from now on. That's his new nickname. But yeah, Ryan's been amazing. He's an amazing modeler. He's worked in the industry. He works at Codemasters currently. He's not in a modeling position, but he just worked there.
Yeah.
But he's worked at like VR studios, like sort of the simulation VR studios where they make like, trading safety applications where you can get like how to use like specialist bit of equipment. He'll model like the equipment so he can do it trading. So yeah, he can make anything. This guy, he can literally see something, create it in like a few minutes. We do live streams on Discord from time to time where Ryan just goes through his process of making models. It's really cool to see, and everyone can just like comment and talk at the same time.
Discord's great like that. I love that kind of community you can get with Discord, and that kind of interaction. That's really cool.
So yeah, Discord is. I mean, our Discord's blown up. I mean, a lot of the VR YouTubers have took our sort of demo and like put like videos out on YouTube, and like our Discord, I think went from like 300 people to like over 800 now. It's like crazy.
VR's got a ravenous fan base.
Yeah, it really does.
Like I can imagine. Yeah, that's really cool. So I'm guessing you're hoping to release with VR when you release the first level.
Yes, I mean there's actually a playable little VR demo out there right now. But it's just like an early thing to show like, oh yeah, this is VR. You can play. It's cool.
Show it works.
Yeah. But I mean, I really wish I made. Yeah, actually from the ground up for VR in the first place, because it's just like the desktop version converted to VR, right? If that makes sense. So it's not actually designed around it, but I think I've done a good job of actually incorporating it into the actual game.
I thought it looked great. I love the ammo gauges on the side of the gun and whatnot. That looks great in VR when you're moving that around. Looks really cool.
Oh yeah. Yes, I've got the health and shield on the wrist.
That's
so
right.
You can actually see it. That's just a placeholder at the moment because we actually got some concept art for Kyle's I should call him Kylie. Kyle's band braces.
It's all right, Kylie, Adam, Alan.
A long day.
So your first console was the PS1 then, was it?
Yes,
nice.
Absolutely.
And Dark Force is one of the first games you had for it, or?
Yep. Came with free. I think it was free games. Overboard. The pirate game.
Don't think I've played Overboard.
That was a classic game.
I'm gonna have to check
I think it was also called Shipwreckers as well in like different regions. And also, what other game was it? Oh yeah, some football game called Onside Soccer. I think that was the first free games I had.
And Dark Forces. Wow, that's
yeah. So those were classic games.
I think like you, I got the PS1 late, so I it was like secondhand from like a family member or something, someone that was done with it. So I think by the time I got it, it came with quite a few games. But I never played the Dark Forces version for the PS1 because obviously I was used to it on PC, so I never tried it.
Yeah. As a kid, I mean, I thought it was the best thing ever. Like, obviously, when you see the graphics, it's like, wow, these are amazing. It's just so Star Wars. But when you look back at it, the PS1 version was absolutely terrible.
I have heard that, but I've never tried it. But again, it's what you experience that first time, isn't it? And that's
the frame rate was horrendous. However, the only positive thing about it is the CD audio.
Like, did it have better audio?
So, 100%. Yeah, if you listen to the cutscenes of the actual PS1 compared to the PC version, it's night and day. Honestly.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Amazing. So that's the only thing going for it, but it's still classic. It's just so nostalgic.
Did it pretty much? Was it the full game? It didn't cut corners anywhere with the PS1.
Oh no, it was 100% full game. Yeah.
Oh well, that's
good. Completely full game. It's just awful frame rate and controls.
Yeah.
and also you didn't have the dual shot controls at the time, just the analog arrows.
Yeah, some of those, I imagine actually playing that would be pretty hard on the PS1 compared to the because it's quite a hard game, especially if you play it on hard. It like those stormtroopers do not fuck about, and you die very quickly if you make mistakes. So
yeah, and you also have like sneaky AI placement as well when you have the hard option on, especially when you go out the secret
they're
base.
Always in like a little corner just as you walk past it, you can't see. It's like a blind spot. Yeah,
it's like when a grand thermal detonates you in the face from like 2 centimeters away. You're like, yeah, thanks for that.
Jesus. But yeah, I always remember the second level.
Attack base. Yeah.
When you go into the room that's completely dark and all you can see is the silhouette of the people's feet. All of the different the stormtroopers' feet, and they just start shooting you in the dark. That would like killed me so many times as a kid. Drove me absolutely crazy.
Is that the bit where you go to like it was like a bar?
Yeah, it's like a bar, but the lights are off, and you kind of go down there. It's just completely pitch, and all you can see is the. If you look at the bottom of the bar, you can see the lights going along the light strip going along the bottom of the bar.
Yeah,
that's just about to see the outlines. It's a really cool visual, but it's really frustrating to try and navigate and get through without the night vision.
Yeah, if I was making a different level to Secret Base. Honestly, there's so many good levels in Dark Forces.
They're all great, apart from the third one. I hate that sewer level so much.
Even the third one, like, it's got a great atmosphere. It's got
fantastic atmosphere.
And the lore of the planet is really cool as well. Yeah. Like, the Moff guys hiding away. And he's got like, these robots, droids protecting him.
I think it's just the darkness. I always remember just turning the brightness up as far as I could on that level so that I could see where I was actually going. Because I kept missing the turnings and missing the different bits. Because it's just one big puzzle. Basically, that level is just one big puzzle. Until you figure out how that works, it's a complete nightmare. But yeah, you're right. It's certainly got the Star Wars atmosphere, and obviously memories of the trash compactor. It's like one big trash compactor.
Yeah, for a modern game remake, I can definitely do something with it, and the mod team on Jedi Academy did a really good. I think they did a really good master of that as well on theirs. But
I'd be curious to see what you did if you ever did it, just in terms of how you would tackle it and what you would do.
Yeah, I mean, definitely revamp the puzzle at the start where you got to choose the sort of which
coming back to that every time. Yeah.
Oh, it's awful, isn't it? But yeah, so many levels to choose from for another remake of a level. But
you could
I think
punch
my
the Kel Dragons in VR. That'd be amazing.
I know, man. Like, who has a one-hit wonder to knock out a Kel Dragon after like 5 hits?
I know. It's like Kyle Katarn is a complete badass. It took Rogue One an entire film to get the Death Star plans, and Kyle does it in 10 minutes. It's fantastic.
On the tutorial section.
The tutorial section is stealing the Death Star plans.
But yeah, my favorite level is probably the Crix Medine Rescue Detention Center. I think.
Oh yes, the detention center is great. That's the one you start outdoors, right, in the ice.
In like the quarry. I think it's a quarry.
Not ice, is it? Yeah, it's like.
It's actually quite similar to the other one before it. I think Fest, the one we actually have to get the sample from the factory. That's awesome, and that kind of has like a data array like Rogue One-esque at the end. We got like press the switches to turn the platforms and then go down lower.
Yes,
to
it does.
Reveal that opening. Yeah, that's awesome as well. So many cool levels to design, but Secret Base
for the time. I mean, those 3D. I mean, I know they weren't textured because they couldn't texture them, but those 3D spinning sections that you can stand on and jump on and move around, those are incredible for the time. Still to this day, I think the map in Dark Forces, it sounds really lame to be talking about a map in a video game, but the overlay map in Dark Forces was revolutionary when it came out. I mean, Diablo stole it. If you ever play Diablo now, you can thank Dark Forces for that transparent map that just gets overlaid. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the little sort of like wireframe green outlines.
It's perfect. Yeah. I know where I'm going. I can see where I'm going, and I can play the game at the same time. I don't have to pause and open a map screen or switch to a map. I can actually play whilst seeing the map. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's also useful finding those 90s hidden doors they hid around everywhere as well. The secret areas. It's like, why would a stormtrooper have this here? It's like, hiding from their mates, some ammo packs or something.
Just in case. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely those sort of like retro elements we've definitely removed from our remake. It's sort of like the secret walls and doors and all that stuff. So
Yeah, that's very 90s FPS.
yeah, I mean the secret base. You know when you first get the red key to open up the wall.
Yeah.
To get to the, we just replace that with a blast door now, because why would they have a secret compartment in their own secret base?
In their own base, yeah. It's already a secret base, guys. I think we know. It's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, that's gone. I want to see where Ryan is.
Yeah, he's welcome to join us if he's around.
Yeah,
I think you. I don't know if you can add him, but if you can, do it. If not, I will add him myself.
I'll see what he's. I'll message him, see if he gets back to me.
Yeah. No worries. Well, we can talk about film anyway. I didn't realize you were getting into acting, or you were into acting. What was? Was the story there?
Yeah, I'm basically I've always been into like acting, performing, but when I was just out of college, it was like must have been 18, looking to go to uni and all that stuff. Decided to take up just give acting a shot, and I got like an agent back around when I lived in Yorkshire. So just did like a few extra work, but then actually moved to London to pursue it, a bit more in depth. And yeah, I got a few things here and there, theatre work, a few commercials and all that stuff. So yeah, it's
what ultimately made you decide, that it wasn't for you. Was it just, you just gave it a go and didn't get as far as you hoped, or just reality? I guess paying bills is an issue, I suppose.
I mean, it's cool when you get something, but when you don't get something for like 4 months, it's like nah. And it's very competitive out there as well. And
yeah,
I didn't go to any big drama school or anything like that, but it was really fun when I did do it, because I was a few TV shows and all that stuff, but nothing major.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really fun. But I have massive respect for people like Joe, the voice actor, who keeps doing it for career and keeping going, because it is very tough out there. But
it is, yeah. I mean, he took that plunge. I think he got made redundant from his other job, and it kind of gave him that windfall to be like, all right, I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to take the risk now. But you still have to take that risk, and it's a real risk, especially if you've got a full-time job that pays. Like the thought of just being like, okay, I'm going to quit my day job and pursue this art is it's terrifying. I've got nothing but respect for people that actually do it.
Exactly.
And I guess, straight from college. I mean, at least you can say you did it.
Oh yeah,
you gave it a shot. And I guess it's something you could always go back to if you wanted to do extra work or anything else at any point in the future.
Maybe, but no, I think game development is what I'm doing right now.
Well, you clearly have a talent for game development from what I'm seeing. So have you got any other projects that you've worked on over the years? Because when I look up Shadow Art Games, all I can find is about Dark Forces. So I'm curious what else you do and what else you've done.
Yeah, so Shadow Art Games is a new entity pretty much. We just developed Shadow Art Games in the last year and a half. So yeah, it's completely new. But yeah, I made an application for my brother to show off his he designed sort of a new fitness application.
Oh, cool.
And I made that for him in VR to show off on his creation, so people can see it, not just getting the actual physical object to people, but to show off as a
how it would look.
Exactly. But yeah, we worked on this horror game years ago, but nothing ever came to it. So this is kind of like our first real sort of push to actually get an amazing product out there. But we are working on an original game right now as well.
Oh, cool. Are you allowed to say any details on what it's about or what it's like? And
I can say a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I'm quite psyched for it, actually, to be fair. It's made from the ground up for VR. So
I'll have to get VR then.
It is playable on desktop, however. Right. It is very much playable on desktop. But it is a throwback to kind of like the classic early 2000s sort of military games where it's a solid single player story, no multiplayer.
My favorite.
You kind of given a scenario level, but you can just go which way you want, sort of non-linear. But we are structuring in a way where it is kind of directing you, but it's kind of like
expansive areas, but there is some direction as to where you're going.
Yeah,
like the other one, like you said, early 2000s, like Project IGI kind of. Like slightly more open, but still exactly somewhat linear.
Yeah. So we have got some cool AI features as well. So I can't wait to show it off, to be honest. I post like little snippet, little sections on our Discord to give people like a little insight. But
And is that going to be released under Shadow Art Games?
yes, yes, definitely, because we're actually registered as a company now as well.
Oh, awesome!
So I've got like all the bank accounts sorted and HM revenue.
It's all serious now.
Yeah, no going back.
Well, that's that's the great thing about doing this level of Star Wars is that you've got people's attention now, and people have got their eyes on you and Shadow Art Games. So, it's a great way to start.
We did do it. We did do the Star Wars to get our names out there and to show what we can do. I've been learning because I've game dev for years. Like even I'm not actually making an actual game to show off to people. I'm just learning.
Mm-hmm.
But we did this for getting jobs in the industry, and I was about to take a role with an actual studio actually as well not long ago. A really cool studio, but I actually turned it down because I just thought, we can definitely do our own projects and make something out of it. Make something for ourselves out of our own creative ideas. So that's what we're going to do.
So I'm assuming there's no release date for that. That's kind of a long way off.
We are looking to bring out a video end of April.
Oh, okay, that's further along.
So it's not the game. So it's not the game, but it's going to be like a introducing video, that sort of thing. And then we're looking for kind of Kickstart funding.
Yeah.
See how it goes. But if not, it's not about the end of the day. It's not about the money. It's more like what we like doing.
Yeah, it's nice if if it does.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, if you can afford to pay bills and live off your own creative projects, that's
it's a difficult thing. I know from experience. It's not like it's not necessarily possible. But like you said, it is about doing it for the love of it and for the art of it. And at the end of the day, if you can get support from Patreon, I mean, I think that's the great thing about Patreon and all of these kind of funding, GoFundMe, all of those kind of sites. It really does allow independent people to do their art. You don't need a big studio anymore for music or for games or for film or for anything. You can get that independent support, and that can feed you and fund you through through whatever you're looking to do. And of course Unreal, which is free. It's just amazing.
It's free if you don't earn over £1 million, then you have to pay royalties. That's the only.
Well, I guess soon as you do that, you have to.
I mean, that's a good thing. If anything, really, that means we've made £1 million in revenue. That's fine by me.
Yeah, it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, Epic Games are acquiring everything right now. Quixel, even Bandcamp. I think I just saw something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, literally. Like, I'm gonna back up my source here, but I just.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's new. I've seen Epic have been pretty much.
Yep. Games Bandcamp.
Wow.
Bandcamp sells to Epic. So
between Epic and Microsoft, I think there's just going to be two companies left.
Yeah, I think Epic are owned by that Chinese company as well, Tencent, I think.
Yes, at least they've got a majority stake.
Something like that.
Entirely own it, but yeah, Epic's crazy. I mean, they give away more free games than most people buy. I think you just like constantly giving away stuff. They must have a lot of money behind them. But
they gave away the whole Tomb Raider series, I think, recently. They
did in the run up to Christmas. They always do like a crazy amount of giveaways in the run up to Christmas, and I think they gave away all of the most recent Tomb Raider games. It's insane. But Unreal being free is incredible for indie developers and whatnot. Just to have that kind of cutting edge technology, because back in the day it was always people modding Doom or modding reverse engineering engines that they can get hold of and trying to make something of it. But now you've got something as powerful as Unreal, which the pros are using. The big developers, all a lot of them use Unreal. And the fact that that's available to anyone now, it's a nice leveling of the playing field. And like you said, obviously you're a two-man team. You don't have the hundreds and hundreds of people that Rockstar have to work on the animations for GTA. But it still enables you to do pretty much anything you're willing to put the time and work into. So it's fantastic.
It really is an engine that has everything, especially with the AI support. A lot of time when I worked with Unity, you have to have another plugin to do this sort of thing, from a third party developer. But Unreal's got everything included. You can do anything you want. The only thing which is a little bit annoying for VR, is the new Unreal Engine 5 uses a different physics engine, Chaos engine, instead of the physics.
Oh, really?
The next.
Okay. Does that involve switching a lot of things over in kind of janky problems?
Yeah, exactly. So if I took this VR project I've got on the Unreal Engine 4.27 and then put it on Unreal 5, it just goes completely haywire. You've got to do everything again. So it's fine. Hopefully when they release the actual,
they'll probably do some kind of support for,
I hope, we'll figure that out when we get there. But Unreal 5 is not my absolute priority right now because it's got some amazing features like the lumen lighting and all that nanite stuff. But you can still get amazing looking games with baked lighting.
I think, Unreal 4 looks incredible.
Really is. It really is a cool bit of software, and it's just technology available nowadays. It's crazy for small teams, like that iClone character creator I was talking about.
I'll look at that later. Yeah,
check it out. Really it's crazy to help get like a standard of game dev that's not been reached before by small teams for a limited budget.
Yeah. So where do you land with Star Wars movies, series, and all of that stuff? Do you have a favorite movie or era?
Era definitely original trilogy.
Okay, 100%. Same. But it varies. Some people that grew up with the prequels say the prequels.
Yeah, I mean prequels they're fine. They're perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
They're just.
I sometimes I just feel like that grumpy old guy who's like, no, it's not the same as it was in my day.
It isn't the same as it was when I was growing up with the original trilogy, but it has some cool things. Like
it does,
sound
for sure.
The sound design is spot on in the I think in the prequels.
Yeah,
the sound design is crazy.
The music is just something else as well. That Duel of the Fates is just such an incredible piece of music. In fact, I think they put that in the trailer for Obi-Wan, didn't they? A couple of weeks ago, and it was like instantly like, oh yes, that's amazing. They certainly has some ideas. There's just something about the original trilogy and that whole look that got lost with the prequels. That's where it kind of it
got too glossy, didn't it? It's too sort of futuristic, even though like the original trilogy, futurism, but it's kind of like a retro futurism, isn't it? Where it's like the janky ass robots, that sort of thing, but it's still believable. It's kind of grounded, and it's like even though the Phantom Menace set a few, grimy
and dirty.
Set before how many years? About 30 years, 40 years,
something like that. Yeah, I think yes.
But then it's like technology. It looks like it's progressed way more than it has shown on the original trilogy, even though it's years back.
And they kind of backtracked in the end, didn't they? Because by the time you get to Revenge of the Sith, that movie, they've basically taken the technology closer to the original trilogy. So it's like it starts off really futuristic and then it goes backwards as the movies progress towards the trilogy, towards the original trilogy. But the original trilogy for sure. And then I think I clung on to the expanded universe far too long. I was like, because I was obsessed with Dark Forces and Kyle Katarn, and then of course Kyle Katarn turns up in the expanded universe novels, and there's all of that stuff, so it kind of continued, and I was always a big fan of that. I was kind of heartbroken when they sort of went, no, it's all just Legends and we'll just park all of the EU. It's like, no, like the expanded universe was fantastic. I mean, it was bloated. It's kind of a bloated mess, but there was some absolute gold in there. And for me, the Thrawn trilogy was the sequel trilogy in my head. That was always the sequel trilogy. So that's probably why I don't like the sequels that much, because in my head I'd already imagined that whole trilogy from reading those novels.
The sequels, I was so excited for them. Force Awakens is kind of like, it's like what's the point of that film? It's just like a rehash of every.
I remember enjoying it at the time and just being like, I've enjoyed it, but I've only enjoyed it on the understanding that the sequels now do something, because it's like it was like it felt like we're going to apologize for the prequels and we're going to just basically make Star Wars. You like Star Wars, here is copy paste Star Wars, there you go. And then it was like, okay, so you need to kind of expand on all of the things you've set up in this movie, and then it just fell off. Just
the whole story, the story arc, the storyline of the whole three movies, just absolute mess. It's just like it's like they made up. it's like they're making it up as they go along.
They
It's
did.
like, oh,
That's the crazy thing. It amazes me. They spent like, what was it, like 4 or 5 billion on acquiring Lucasfilm, and then they didn't script the trilogy. They just kind of made it up as they went along, and it's like, what are you doing?
But they did have like the the extended universe had so many reference points to take from. Like they could have done Yu Zhang Wong? I can't pronounce them.
Yeah,
the weird aliens that from like the dark sector.
Yeah,
they could have done that invasion. That was pretty cool. I mean,
I think
a bit out there, but
yeah, I always liked the idea of the Remnant as well.
Yeah, the Remnant. Yeah, that's the safe. That's the best option to do, really. The safe option where you can have the Kyle Katarn in there dealing with them.
I think they should have never done like a sequel trilogy. They should have just done side stories, and then occasionally you could have, like they're basically doing now with the TV shows. From what I understand, they've got like, hey, here's Luke Skywalker turns up for a moment or two in an episode. You could basically do that, and what was his name from Shadows of the Empire? The Han Solo. 2.
Yeah,
I can't think of his name. Dash Rendar.
Yeah, that's Dash Rendar.
That kind of stuff was great. There's side characters around the original trilogy. That's which is why I think I enjoyed Rogue One, because it was basically, of all of the sequel movies, I think Rogue One's probably the one I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, I really liked Rogue One. It's probably my third favorite Star Wars film of all time.
That's high praise. What does it come? What original movie
order
does it come? Yeah.
It replaces Return of the Jedi.
Fair. I was going to say I'd imagine it would be Return of the Jedi.
I mean, Return of the Jedi had I really enjoyed it, but it's just like
it's the weakest of the original
Ewoks,
three.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's kind of like the Ewoks. I love the space battle in it, actually. The Endor battle.
I think the pace of that ending is fantastic. Cutting to the ground and back up into space, and then on board the Death Star. That stuff is wonderfully paced. The whole pacing and the space battle, and also the new trench run is so much more tense when you've got something the size of the Falcon trying to fly through that tiny little tunnel.
Have you played that on the X-Wing Alliance game?
I love X-Wing Alliance. Is such a good game. I mean, it's kind of that's where I learned what the Millennium Falcon was meant to be used for and how that all worked was Alliance, because you work using those
you're like some sort of shipping family, aren't you? Like some sort of smuggling, not like some sort of business, aren't you? Where you're
you're some kind of business, and then you join the Alliance. But X-Wing Alliance is fantastic, and the Death Star stuff on that is great. I was a big fan of the Rogue Squadron games as well. I think Rogue Squadron 2 is just fantastic. When it comes to the Death Star kind of battles, more arcadey. Obviously, the X-Wing series, TIE Fighter and Alliance, those are much more of the simulation kind of stuff, which I mean, the
prefer. Visuals on Rogue 2 were amazing at the time, like in the game. Incredible, like so authentic to the movies. It was mind blowing as a kid. Playing those games.
It was like playing the movie. It was incredible, absolutely incredible.
But yeah, the cool thing about Shadows of the Empire, they had like a lot of reused Dark Forces assets in it.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of the level designers actually worked on Dark Forces on that game, and they had like the jump sound effects and all that stuff. It's exactly
got that
the
visual
same.
This really nice. And you get some of that with X-Wing and TIE Fighter over as well, where they obviously, LucasArts was one company, and I guess they just if you're going to do things, we've got that continuity then between all of the different games, and fantastic stuff.
Have you seen the X-Wing Virtual Machine project?
I have. It looks amazing. It's
in Unity. It's incredible. Amazing stuff.
I recently played through someone's remade TIE Fighter in X-Wing Alliance as well, and that's fantastic.
Oh yeah, I saw that actually. It's like the full conversion mod.
It's just full conversion, but it's really well done. And it looks far better than a game of that age has any right to look, with the upscale textures and they've kind of pushed the engine.
Those new models,
absolutely incredible stuff. So do you? I guess your favorite Star Wars game is Dark Forces, which would make sense.
Absolutely.
So how did you? So you kind of alluded to it as well, because I always thought, for me, like, I preferred Kyle pre-Jedi. I've always kind of thought from especially when you look at things from like an RPG perspective, like doing role playing. As soon as you introduce Jedi, everything just gets kind of screwed because it's like
that's what the kids want. That's what the kids
it's
want.
what the kids want. But then you think about it, and it kind of
lightsaber.
it kind of screws you into one narrative. Whereas when Kyle was just this just badass mercenary, I much preferred him just on that level.
I just love that how he's a gun for hire. It's like he's not exclusive to Rebel Alliance.
No, he's worked with the Empire.
Yeah, I mean, he was an Empire officer, wasn't he? He was
Yeah.
not shit.
Yeah. And even when Mon Mothma's like giving him the briefing at the start, he doesn't seem too sure if he wants to even bother. He's like,
yeah.
But yeah, and and then he's making those demands of like, I want Jan on my, if I'm doing it with my, my team of 2. Yeah. But yeah.
That's like what I liked about Rogue One. It's shown the rebels to be more insurgents, a bit more gritty, a bit more. There's what planet's called where they have the shootout, what's it bloody called?
The one that gets destroyed by. Well, actually, they all get destroyed by the Death Star, don't they? Jeddah?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
Jeddah.
When they have that scene where they attack the tank under the bridge.
Yes, that's a great scene.
Yeah. That's what the rest of the Star Wars movies kind of miss. That sort of like gritty rebels. They're a rebellion, not like some sort of like holy crusaders not harming anyone.
Yeah.
These guys like the Saw Gerrera group, like that's what they do. Like these are kind of like. They're viewed as terrorists in the Empire's eyes, but they have to get things done in a meaningful way.
And they're flawed as well.
Yes,
which is something when you get Jedi, it's kind of that holier than thou kind of, and it's nice to see people that are, they, like you said, they're insurgents, they're rebels, they make mistakes, and they're trying their best to fight against overwhelming odds. It's great. The design of Rogue One is incredible visually. I can totally see why you would have taken that and brought it into Dark Forces, because it is the closest to that that original trilogy feel that we got with any of the movies. Because I know they did that Han Solo movie, and again that felt too kind of removed from.
Yeah, there's some cool elements, especially like I think there's a deleted scene where he was like a TIE fighter pilot for a few minutes. Cool.
I was hoping they'd show more of that, because
that
was always kind of. We always knew that's where
his
Han met Chewie and stuff like that. And I was hoping that most of the movie would be him as an Imperial officer and kind of deciding, from what he'd seen on Kashyyyk or wherever, that he was going to go and do, join or not necessarily join the rebellion, but leave the Empire and become, a smuggler. But it's kind of a shame we didn't get that. But never mind. Didn't get a lot of things with the sequel movies, but How do you feel about the special editions of the original trilogy?
I mean, visually it looked good. It's
some of it looked good at the time. I mean, the Jabba thing does not look good now.
No, exactly. It's funny seeing all those like added droids on Tatooine when they're walking along. Is like you can clearly see the contrast between the old animatronics and like the added in CGI. It's hilarious. Like there's little droids flying around. It's like that wasn't there, in the 70s. I really hate the Obi-Wan crate dragon call. I think he does a crate dragon and he gets replaced with something else, like a really weird screech.
Oh yes, I vaguely remember. It's been a long time since I watched.
When he scares the sand people, he goes for like to get into help Luke off the floor, and it's just like some weird screech. It's like the most weirdest thing ever they put in there. It's like, no, just leave it out.
Yeah, and replacing Anakin in Jedi with the actor who played Hayden Christensen. They put Hayden Christensen in there. It's like, what on earth is going on? Everyone else is there as a Force ghost and they're old except for Vader. I guess their logic is like, oh well, it goes back to when he was a Jedi, so he's young. But yeah,
or just went them back to tank in Jedi Heaven, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I'm really a big fan of Mandalorian as well. I
watched some of season 1 of Mandalorian. It seemed really good. I haven't watched all of it, but I know most of the major spoilers at this point. It's been impossible to avoid. But yeah, again, they've seemed to have gone back to that original trilogy feel and look. And you're kind of dealing with the kind of seedy underbelly of Star Wars, which I think I prefer overall. Yeah. There was a game they were making at one point that was going to kind of be. I think it was set on like Narshada or something like that, and it was going to be like
Coruscant.
Oh, was that on Coruscant?
Yeah, 1313.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
a young Boba Fett, I believe.
Oh, of course it was, because they released the footage recently, didn't they?
Yes, like animation tests and all that stuff. Yeah, it looked pretty cool. Basically, an Uncharted clone, but
that's fine.
Yeah, I'll play it. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Dark Forces was a Doom clone, and I was more than happy with that. So
Yeah, I believe didn't it start production before Doom itself actually started its development? I'm pretty sure it did.
No, it might have done. I guess. I mean, Wolfenstein obviously came out before that, so yeah, potentially. I don't know. I know it came out after Doom for sure.
It did come out after, but like, I may be wrong, but
no, you may well be right. I mean, I think
it did, but that's. I mean, they did so much things, better than Doom. Like,
I remember an interview.
You can look up and down vertically, that sort of thing, and the lighting is lighting. So, yeah, exactly. So,
I know Romero from id has said many times how impressed he was with Dark Forces. I think it blew him away. He's kind of like, wow, like not only is it Doom, Star Wars Doom, but they've actually done a lot of really innovative things. And it really shows if you use there's a great mod for Dark Forces called Dark XL.
Yeah.
Adds mouse look and lighting effects and stuff. And it really shows, especially with the vertical looking and stuff, how much potential that engine had and how much work actually went into it. You can really appreciate it when you can use mouse look to look around.
Yeah, that mod's been phased out now. They're remaking the game like from source. I think they're using the Force engine.
I know that it's getting harder and harder to find. I've got a copy of it on my hard drive backed up because I love that. I don't ever. I'm like, once you get the new version, fine, but until then, I need to I need to get my my Dark Forces fix.
Dark XL was pretty cool at the time. It was amazing to see just the pixels are completely ripped away from the screen. There's no it's like when you're playing VR, it's like you got that screen door effect where you just see all the pixels in front of you. But it's like removing those and playing a Dark XL. It's like it just looks amazing on
clean.
Modern Reds. Yeah,
yeah,
it really is.
And the lighting effects as well. I think the lighting effects are really good on that that they've done. It looks fantastic. There's so many great remakes and fan projects out there. Daggerfall Unity was one I found recently. I didn't even know that someone had done that, but someone's remade Daggerfall, the Elder Scrolls.
Oh, is that
2.
like using it's kind of like the virtual machine like the X-Wing guys are doing? Was it?
I'm not entirely sure how they did it, but it's just basically it seems to be a remake in Unity.
Yeah.
It looks complete from what I've played of it, and it's incredible. It's incredible that people that are so passionate about these things. Like you've just decided, I love Dark Forces. This is going to be my project. I'm going to spend, this time to
hours
to get. Well, yeah, but it's
I stay up to 2 a.m. sometimes just.
Yeah, what is your day like? Because do you presumably have a job aside from doing this?
Well, yeah, actually, I had a job last month. I quit my job actually to work on my games full time.
Nice, man.
I got savings and all that stuff, but I was working at Jet2 as a security vettings administrator, and it's not fun. It was so boring, like doing it's kind of like an admin IT job. And it's like, you know what? I'm gonna use this year to completely do my own thing and just see where it goes. If it doesn't go to plan, don't get the money to survive on my own.
But again, like with Joe, I mean, hats off to you for taking that plunge and just be like, no, I'm gonna give it a go.
Thanks.
And hopefully, with the new game coming out as well, you can get some Patreon interest, and there seems to be a lot of interest for the Dark Forces mod remake. So hopefully those people will follow you over. I'm excited to see the April release of this new game footage and see what it's all about. Obviously, I'm assuming you don't want to say too much now, but I look forward to seeing it.
I feel guilty because I'm working on our original game and Dark Force at the same time.
Well, that's fair enough, especially now you're trying to make a go of it and actually do it.
Exactly. I'm actually spending more time in Dark Forces than I have done ever before because I've obviously, I quit my actual work job, which was giving me zero time to do anything. So it's basically the same as me doing a full-time job and also doing Dark Forces on the side, but now I've got way much more time to.
Your side time is still more. Yeah,
exactly. So. I'm doing a lot of advanced stuff on our original game, which I really want to bring across the Dark Forces, especially the AI work.
So are they both? Obviously, Dark Forces is Unreal. Is the game you're making Unreal as well?
Yeah. So it's they kind of share the same game base kind of template I made for both games, but yeah, it's a lot more advanced features than our original game, which I'm gonna bring over to Dark Forces soon. The AI stuff is quite complex actually, so hopefully it'll work for the Star Wars characters. But
so, are there any plans to release the Dark Forces level? Any kind of timeline? Is just when it's ready, and you'll just have to,
I mean, the answer is yeah, when it's ready is the obvious answer, but it's just making all the models really, that sort of thing. It's just I could if we had the models done, we could ship the game tomorrow, but it's that time making the assets.
Well, and those assets look incredible as well. Like, it's worth the time because like the character models, the weapon models, they look amazing. I mean, it looks like Dark Forces, but updated. It's all recognizable.
A lot of the characters are actually just from Battlefront 2 at the moment, just for placeholders.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
The officers and commandos, not like they got the full face animations are made on iClone, but stormtroopers are getting replaced shortly. Yeah, but the environments and all that stuff completely made by Ryan. It's just the prop work, adding all those like computer terminals, getting them to the standard of
and making
what
them,
Star Wars is,
and making them kind of work in 2022 instead of just copy paste terminals that you could have done in the 90s. You're actually doing more in recreating the game now, because obviously the expectation is not going to be the same, the same 3 screens repeated over and over throughout the entire base.
Oh yeah, the computers in Dark Force are just like a textured wall of lights. Baked in. It's like
just copy paste.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like that Dark Forces aesthetic, like kind of like a very bluey tinty vibe to it, but you never see that. You've never seen that in actual Star Wars films, have they? So
that's a fair point. Actually, you don't.
It's like, yes, they obviously it's made by LucasArts and they are like the overlords of Star Wars, but the actual Dark Forces itself has no kind of relation to a lot of the textures we see in the actual Star Wars films, really.
No, that's
like
true. You never see those kind of. I've never watched a Star Wars movie and been like, oh yeah, that console looks like it's from Dark Forces. No, it's very much its own thing.
Exactly. Yeah, they completely made it like Dark Forces its own, which is
yet
cool.
It does fit. It fits.
Yeah, it does fit. 100%.
It fits the original trilogy anyway, which is really cool.
I mean, I think a thing that sticks out though is the detention center looks quite Star Wars film like, especially like the
I guess they had a detention center to work off of visually.
The Death Star bit, it's like the red floors coming through the vents. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's such a good game. I could talk forever on Dark Forces. It's such a wonderful game. Do you think they ever really? Do you think they knew they wanted to make Kyle a Jedi at the end of Dark Forces? Because Vader's like,
probably.
the Force is strong with with that one. And I never knew whether that was just a throwaway line, and then afterwards they were like, actually, guys, it's just,
Yeah, 100%, without a shadow of a doubt. I think it was always set up for a sequel to have. I mean, I think they originally were going to have Luke Skywalker as Cal Katarn, the main character.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's what the plan was. But then obviously, like, bin him, make something completely unique. But yeah, I think it's always the Jedi scenario was always involved
on the cards. Yeah, I guess they were waiting for the technology to do it, and I
mean, Jedi Knight 2. Don't get me wrong, I love that game. It's amazing.
Me too. It was great. Oh my god, that game blew my mind. I got that for Christmas. It blew my mind when that game came out, because it was,
and that did feel like Star Wars. That did feel like the classic, Star Wars aesthetic. I really enjoy. I
remember just being blown away seeing like ATSTs and whatnot. Walking around in full 3D and stuff. But you're right.
Martial
the
Art
story
was
is
amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of people go, oh, I'm a massive fan of the FMV sort of cutscenes and all that stuff, but
I do enjoy them.
I enjoy them to a point, but the thing about Dark Forces original is like the story was very grounded. You can relate. It's like, yes, I can. This is a story I can get behind. It's not too crazy. It's not too stupid. This could genuinely be an actual Imperial project that ties into Star Wars universe. It's really cool.
And then the Valley of the Jedi.
Yeah, it's too crazy, man. Like,
and as much as
I can't get behind it.
I love the FMV. I do love the FMVs of Jedi Knight, and I do enjoy. I like the actor. I think he's great, but he even before he becomes a Jedi, that opening in Nar Shaddaa when he takes those 2 guys out and the other guy runs away.
Oh yeah.
He takes the one guy, throws him on the table. Even the way he's behaving in those scenes before he's a Jedi, he's not really acting like Kyle. You know, like Kyle acted a very specific way. Like you said, he was very sort of gruff and very kind of, you know, I imagine Kyle would have just shot those guys straight away without even talking about it, you know? So he's kind of a different character from Jedi onwards than he was in Dark Forces.
Yeah. I actually preferred Mysteries of the Sith over Dark Forces 2.
I agree.
I'll probably get shot for saying
this, but I did something interesting. I kind of liked playing as a different character and seeing that kind of.
I think the levels design, the level design was incredible on it. Like
I think they'd had time to kind of get used to the engine, I guess, and everything else by that point.
Yeah,
because I think it was a modified Quake 2 engine, right? If I remember rightly.
I think it was the Sith
or
engine.
Maybe even Quake. It might have been Quake. I mean, I guess Quake's DNA is in every.
I think it actually ran on its own engine. It's a Sith engine. I think
really? Okay.
Or was it a Jedi engine? Let me type in.
You may be right.
Pretty sure. Yeah, the Sith engine. Yeah,
engine. Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was the Jedi. The original Jedi was similar build to the engine used in Duke Nukem 3D.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, developed by LucasArts for Dark Forces 2.
Yeah, so I guess by then, you know, they were experts at it. And I always enjoyed Mysteries of the Sith. I think it's a great game. It's a great expansion.
Yeah, the levels were amazing for it.
I always enjoyed the carbonite gun. That's the other thing that kind of gets ruined when you become a Jedi. It's like all of those great weapons that they designed and created for Dark Forces, they become useless. It's like, you know, and in every subsequent they became Jedi Knight. They stopped being even called Dark Forces. But in every subsequent Dark Forces game, you know, you still have all of those great roster of weapons, but they pretty much become useless because you get a lightsaber and it's like, well, and force powers. So, you know, they don't get that time to shine that you got with with Dark Forces. Jedi Knight's probably the best of them because Jedi Knight, at least you don't get the force powers until a few levels in and whatnot. But yeah, it's just not the same.
The only thing there is like the AI is completely not designed for FPS combat, really. Like the bullets travel at like 2 miles per hour.
Yeah.
It's clearly designed for deflecting them right back at your foes with a lightsaber. But the AI is kind of, I mean, I've actually got one of the AI programmers in our Discord actually for Jedi Academy who did the saber combat.
Cool.
Yeah. Really cool guy. But yeah, I think that game really shines when it's saber combat, definitely. Not suited for shooting people.
Yeah, in fact, it's kind of they always feel really off now when I go back to those games. It's odd. I can't really explain it, but it feels like it's kind of off. It almost feels like where I'm shooting is offset from where the mouse should be shooting. And I can't really explain it, but it's only with those Jedi games that I kind of get that it feels off in some weird way.
I think they had like a dynamic crosshair where it kind of moves around, just trying to like compensate when you're against a wall or something like that. And I think it's a bit like I can't remember exactly what it is, but they do some magic or something to try and make it work as intended, but it doesn't quite work. Yeah,
yeah. I guess it probably worked at the time, but now it's not so much. But yeah, so is Ryan around? Is he?
He did say. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna talk." But I don't think he's not replied to me yet.
Well, that's okay. We'll have to catch up once you've got the new game. Kind of announced. We should kind of do this again. Have a catch up on that because then I can then we can actually talk about it because at the moment obviously it's work in progress secret project.
Yeah,
so.
It's very military based, but not in a serious way like Ghost Recon or Tom Clancy games, but it's definitely like kind of like GoldenEye in VR. I'd say
that sounds great.
But a bit more stealthier. And you can plan your routes a little bit more. So.
Yeah. Project IGI. Is it IGI? IGN. Project IGN? No. IGN's a company.
There's a big multimedia.
I think it's IGI. Project IGI.
Yeah.
I remember from like late 90s, early 2000s. It was kind of, again, it was kind of very James Bondy, and you kind of had a bit more of an expansive area to kind of go into. And it was one of the first games I remember where you were kind of, it's like you have to infiltrate this base, but the base is in the middle of an area and you can choose how you get into the base, and you're not one path.
It's exactly, just describe that game to a T.
There we go, perfect. No, it sounds great. I look forward to seeing more of it. If you could, like, other games you'd love to see a remake of, not asking you to remake them, but I'm just curious, games from your past that you'd like to see, are there any others?
Okay. It's a really hard one.
No, it's a hard question. Sorry.
I would have said Dark Forces, but I mean, actually,
I would have too.
Was really keen to see Jason Lewis's remake. I don't know if you've seen any progress of that. Jason Lewis, the guy from Obsidian.
I haven't. What is he doing?
Dark Forces, but
sorry, yes, no, I did see that.
I
saw some pictures. Yeah, he was just doing. I don't think he's ever planning on releasing it though, is he? I think
he was, but he just kind of like went radio silent on his.
Oh, okay.
Project.
I'm sure I read at one point that he just basically said, "I'm doing this for myself," and that's that. But hopefully, it'll find its way onto the internet. It'll be interesting to see it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a game.
Sorry, that was probably put you on the spot.
Actually, maybe that game, Hidden and Dangerous.
Hidden and Dangerous was incredible.
Yes.
That was, to my mind, it was the first game I played where you had to use iron sights.
Really?
To shoot. Yeah, it was one of the first games I remember being really weirded out by at the time. It's kind of funny to think now because you're so used to using iron sights to shoot. But I remember that. God, that was a hard game. That was a really hard game.
I really like that, kind of like the openness as well, where you can, infiltrate and use your team members and sneak and get disguises as well. I think it'd be awesome in a modern remake.
Yeah, it was almost like a 3D Commandos. In a kind of weird way. It was a really good game. That I've forgotten all about that game until right now.
I think Sniper Elite is a little bit like it as well in a sense. But without the AI team members and the kind of the set missions where you got like do cool spy things and all that stuff. But I definitely see that as a. What about you? What would you see remade?
There was a horror adventure game in the 90s called Realms of the Haunting. It came out on PC.
Not heard of that.
I absolutely love that game, and again, it's another one with cheesy FMV sequences, acted out on green screen. But it was kind of it was a horror FPS kind of, but you also used the mouse to pick things up and click on things. It was quite revolutionary for the time, but I think it was one of those games that came out too soon.
Oh yeah.
Like nowadays you look at things like Penumbra or what was the other one they did? Amnesia. Those kind of games, and it's like, that if they could just have guns in that game and then basically take that engine, add guns to it, you've basically got Realms of the Haunting. You could do a really good Realms of the Haunting remake with that kind of engine.
Cool.
But just a cheesy horror game from the 90s. I'd love to see that. And I know
Sorry, carry on.
No. I was just going to say, and I know we've obviously got MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, which is great, but I'd love to see MechWarrior 2 remade as a, in today's graphics. If someone ever wanted to kind of take that and just update it, that'd be great as well. But...
Have you talking of 90s games, early 90s games, have you ever heard of a studio called Andrew Spencer Studios?
I haven't heard of the studio. What did they do?
This really obscure game called Estatica, I think it's called.
Oh yeah, like a 3D. Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you look it up, I think you may be interested in that. But they were like way ahead of their time in animations and that sort of thing, and it's incredible. If you actually ever look at it,
is it Little Big Adventure? Kind of had similar graphics.
Yeah,
years
but
later.
It's actually scary as hell, honestly.
I imagine it is. Yeah,
they were making this game which had like revolutionary kind of combat as well, like the animations. It's like very procedural.
Yeah.
And a lot of early previews were saying this game's like way ahead of its time. It's like incredible.
I think a lot of those games, unfortunately, get forgotten about because they are a bit janky and they don't quite work.
Yeah.
But when you look at what they were doing and what they probably did for the people that, people saw that, picked it up, and then improved on it and got all the credit. You see those early games, and it's like, God, what they were doing though was incredible.
It was called Urban Decay. That's what it was, and I really wanted to see it. Like, I'm a big fan of like kind of like abandonware and stuff like that.
Oh, me too. I'm obsessed with abandonware actually. Urban Decay.
Yeah, Andrew Spencer Studios, Urban Decay. Have a look at it and look what they were doing. Like, they only did a few sort of magazine interviews, but the tech and animation that we're going for was like way ahead of what the tech could, the computer tech could handle at the time. It looks amazing. It's kind of like a Max Payne, early Max Payne from like
Yeah, I can see
1996.
that. Yeah, that looks.
And
Oh wow, it's
I
got
just,
some like headshots going on there and all sorts.
yeah, it's very contextual. Like the guy will like, when you're close to an enemy, apparently like put his hands to, like certain points where you can.
Mm.
Oh, it's just so cool. But it never came to be, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of got that fade to black kind of look. The flashback sequel that they made for the PlayStation. You've never played that, but it's kind of got that same kind of look. That's incredible. I'm gonna have to check that out. Is that actually available as abandonware?
No. It's just out there
actually never got to. Yeah.
Yeah. It's abandonware.
Yes, abandoned abandonware. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll get to see some of it. These things do occasionally pop back up, so
Maybe. I think the studio's like completely ceased to exist now. It was just basically one guy and had like a team of people. I think he works at Sheffield University.
It's kind of funny how that goes, isn't it? Because that's kind of how it started. Back in the 70s, 80s. I always remember the Commodore 64 games I used to play as a kid. They mostly just made by one guy, just one guy in his bedroom just making a game, and then we went through the phases of like huge studios, and they got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and more elaborate and crazy, and hundreds of people, like you said, Rockstar's huge company now, huge amount of developers, but now we've come back full circle to where we've got these kind of bedroom coders again, and people kind of making games on their own because we've got the ability to now, and it's fantastic. I wish I had the ability to do it myself, but I really don't. It's just not one of the things I'm good at.
Have you not tried? Not given it a shot? Not given it a try?
I mean, no. Maybe I should. I don't know. It seems like a lot of I don't know. Too many. I'm kind of like I do too many things. I'm a master of none. But
so, what's your thing you do? What's your I don't know.
Well, I've fallen into podcasting. I used to do radio pre-pandemic, and then just before the pandemic, I kind of stopped doing radio, went into podcasting. But film. I love film. Filmmaking is my thing. Again, not very good at it, but kind of early days. Yeah. Well, we just kind of decided a few years ago we were going to make a film, and then we made one, and then we made a sequel. But yeah, it's kind of just so much to learn, But that's the fun, and I guess you're getting that with Unreal and Dark Forces in your new game. You're kind of learning as you go, and it's really fun.
Yeah, so it's so many, like when you're two people, like especially when I just do all the logic side and animation. Well, I do animations as well, but like I don't really touch modeling in the sense like Ryan does. But like I have to do a lot of things to take on, like a lot of things, which is fine. But when you get like if our game ever got successful, I'd definitely hire people to do the stuff I don't want to do. Definitely, just
just outsource that. Yeah,
like audio. Like I'm pretty good with audio, I'd say. But it just takes so time consuming to like I did all the sound effects for the stormtroopers that Joe's using, on his voice.
Yeah,
I did a good job actually. The filter effect I did because I used to do a bit of music. And
it sounded great in the preview you had with them talking.
Yeah. It's just like getting all the audio files, because I use a thing called Fmod. If you heard of Fmod software,
no,
it's like an audio middleware between like your game, and it's basically like a digital audio workstation, but for video games and that sort of thing, where you can then play it as it goes. But yeah, it's just so much work for everything to do. What you got to do in these projects. So definitely, hopefully,
some outsourcing in the future. Hopefully.
Yeah, 100%.
So your new, I guess Shadow Art is the company now, and you and Ryan, is Ryan all in on this too, or
yes, he is. He's a director.
Ah, excellent.
So yeah, Ryan works nonstop. I can't say anything negative about Ryan. He's a good friend of mine, and he's one of the hardest working people I've ever met. He stays up till like 2 a.m. and like me, even later than me actually, to do stuff. Just because you just love doing it. And like you've seen these models, all the environments, incredible stuff.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. But yeah, well, this has been great fun. Is there anything you wanted to plug before we kind of finish here? We'll definitely do this again once April's kind of come and gone, and you've got some footage of your new game. Hopefully we can have a bit more of an in-depth chat about that.
Yeah, so obviously everyone knows my Dark Forces. Hit us on Discord and Patreon if you
Yeah.
want to help out.
I will have
It's
links in the description to all of
cool,
that.
cool. Thank you. It's just like the Patreon helps Shadow Heart Games as a whole. It's not for Dark Forces, like let you know now, Disney. This is not for Dark Forces sales.
Yeah.
It's just Shadow Heart Games.
Well, it's getting your name out there, and it's getting the company out there. Yeah.
But yeah, check out there's a friend of ours on our Discord called Repertle who has a Jedi Knight 2 remake out there in the works.
I think I'm following that on YouTube as well.
Yes.
So I will put a link in the description for that.
Check him out. He's worked on this project for years. I think maybe 4 years. I believe. But yeah, way before we did ours.
I've seen his footage of Nar Shaddaa, and it looks
amazing. It's pretty much 1-to-1, but with updated graphics, completely made from the ground up. He's done everything just built from scratch. The AI work as well, which is really cool. All the weapons made and coded himself. Incredible work for one, and that's just one solitary guy as well.
Yeah.
He had a few bits of help from various people giving assets, like some people have helped us out as well, lending assets as well, which is so kind. But yeah, Repertle's done an amazing job on his project.
Yeah,
definitely check it out.
I will definitely put a link to that in the description, and obviously a link to your Patreon and everything else. Thanks for giving me the time, man. This has been great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's enjoyable.
We'll catch up again once the new unnamed game is kind of announced. I look forward to that. But yeah, Shadow Art Games on YouTube and Patreon links in the description. Thanks. This has been great.
It's okay, mate. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.